Right guys, update. What day are we on now? Saturday. It's looking good, Yesterday were a successful day. Stop looking at that screen over there. I spent this morning putting dints in and they fit like, yeah, tidy. You know they're that tidy now. This is the sign of how tidy they are. Trick of the trade, tool of the trade. Get a torch out. That's when you know your gaps are really tight. When you have to get a torch out and shine it down back of all gaps to make sure there's a bit of daylight coming through. So that's what I've been doing. I've been getting torch out, looking down back at gaps, seeing where they touch, then putting another dint in, putting another dint in, and I'm now at the stage where I'm going to start tacking it up. I'm going to pull pipes off. One pipe's on the floor, the one that I dinted last. I'm going to pull other pipe off. I need to weld a bracket on the frame, so I need to just take the paint off the back of the frame, clean up the ends where I'm going to tack them on, and then that's going to be my next. And then my next job is going to be let's tack them on, get them tacked on, and then I can actually pull the pipes out so that I know that the gaps are right. And then I'm going to get on with setting the bracket in the right place. I think tack that on, tack the brackets onto the pipes. What would I do then? Maybe trim them, and I need to make some baffles. He's coming. Like I say, he's coming. Plan is Monday, I think. If I get this done by the end of the day, he's going to pick it up on Monday. So I need to make some baffles as well before I finish. But yeah, just clean them up and get them all tacked on. I think I'll stick this on tripod. I think I'll put this pipe back on, and then I'll show you gaps. So let's get you down here. I've moved her over here because next it's closer to my welder over here. You need a TIG welder wearing away. So that's it, that's bottom pipe, that's other pipe on floor. I'm going to go and let's get this one up. This, I'll put you on tripod because I can't handle both things. But if you look here, you can see that nice big dint there for the frame, big dint there. I think I showed a bit of this in video yesterday. That dint there has got a lot bigger. That's going across casing. On that side you can't see any of them, so that's how you make a perfectly fitting pipe. Someone asked, I think someone shared me post and then they asked about the kickstart. Well, that there is dinted into clear frame, so yeah, they're as tight as any pipes you'll ever get on a Norvin these, and a lot of the time they just fit a standard pipe and it's sat out off the casing here by a mile. And they still get kickstart to clear it, so I've got no problem with clearance. That's how I get around clearance issues, is just make sure it's tighter than everyone else's, and then if everyone else got it to work, then this should definitely work. Right, do that, let's find my torch. Here we go. Oh, fucking hell, the bet torch don't work now. Right, there we go. Make sure it's not in Morse code mode. Torch is here. Oh, nearly dropped camera as well then. I'm not losing my mind. So, let's have a look at some of these gaps. That up here, first gap up there. That one's, you can see through there. I don't know if that's zooming in right, I could get zoom and focus mixed up all the time. But yeah, you can just see that's enough gap there over the top of casing. Nice gap all the way down there. Then it's touching down here. You see just that bottom section there, where that bottom white line is, it's touching there but not touching where my top white line is. So I put another bit of a dint in there. I might do just to smooth the gap out so the gap's equal all the way down. I'll probably just tap that where that bottom white line is. But my idea is to tweak it on the top. So I'll tack it on up here and then just pull this out a fraction, a mil, so that I've got daylight all the way down. But I can only do that when I tack it on, because if I pull it out now it'll fall off top of head. Other pipes totally fine, no gap issues. That only touches down here at the back. So then I had another gap issue here where it's touching gear casing. But let's have a look. You can't see. Can't see it. I've got no focus. I'm too close. Well, I can see daylight out back of there. Now, you're just a bit there. You can see it now, can't you? That bit of torchlight's coming through. but that does shine through all the way. It's just one of them, it's really hard to see. Well, it's hard to get a big camera in there. And then at the back down there, that is actually touching, but that'll be the same issue there. I'll just pull that off. So you got daylight coming up the back of it there with fruit dint. You can't see none at the front. But yeah, once I get the bracket on the back of there, which is knocking around here on floor, that's the bracket for it there. Once I get that welded onto the frame, same thing, I'll just pull that out a little tiny bit before I tack it all together. So yeah, touching everywhere, gaps are sweet, and the line on it is absolutely perfect. So before I went home last night, I had a little tiny issue with that bottom pipe were running downwards a little tiny bit, but let's see if I can zoom in there. If you look at the gap on that now with my toolbox behind it, it's perfect, absolutely perfect, like 3 milli all the way along it. And all I did was I just warmed it up a little tiny bit here and just pushed on it a tiny bit. I needed it to come up a mil at the back, so yeah, now they're both running slightly upwards. You can see there just underneath the pipes there, I've got a little bit of a packer, and that's just lifting them up off horizontal. So before they were sat on that, and that makes them run flat. But I want them just to be ever so slightly kicked up, and which they are doing now, they're running upwards. So they'll look sweet. When it's down on its wheels and it's all built up, it's going to look perfect. I need to trim them there before I have my baffles. And that's where wheel hub will be, that's where spindle bolt will be there. So that'll look dead nice against the wheel hub. You've got a brake plate on there, that'll look sweet as well. So yeah, it's all perfect at the moment. So like I said, I'll just pull it all apart now. Might set you up here. I'll just pull it apart and yeah, do a bit of cleaning on it, I think. Let's take them off and have a look. I can't remember what I said with my first job we're going to do. I'll leave the dint until I'll leave that dint here until I've pulled it out. I just want to clean the scale off the top here, and also clean the paint off the back of here, just so I can get a nice weld. So that just all wants buffing off with a bit of sandpaper. Because I think that's only like primer on there, isn't it? It's just red primer. So get that one off. I've left my torch and I can see my torch shining down there. Get that one off, that one's alright. And I'm wondering if I can just tilt it up where it is, but that'll be no issue. Whether I can just tilt it onto its front. It's a bit dangerous. It's a bit dangerous, the little valve cover dropped off then, didn't it? Oh, you're going to need some zooming out now. Let's get that over there, that's how she's looking. That's the first time I've ever had a bike that way up, I think. I don't think I'll be ever be fitting pipes like that. But yeah, it helps when it gets to there, doesn't it? So I just buff all that off. I'll find some sandpaper. These are just old finishing belts. Old finishing belts for the width there. Let's put that, let's get that in an envelope, I think. Right. Oh, it's a bit wobbly. I'll have to keep hold of it. think that should do it. Basically, it's going to sit about there. Let's have a look at it. So yeah, plenty of room either side of that. I'll have to give that a bit of a clean off, I think. I want to stamp my name into them brackets. I need to stamp my name into them brackets. Alright, let's put it back down. That's perfectly good there. Now to clean off, I don't know what you see in there, let's have a pick my torch up. Ah, you're still good there, aren't you? Clean off the ends of the pipes, I think. Just like I say, just to get rid of that mill scale off the end. Right, probably I'm going to whip that off on my linear belt thing. Show you that. Let's get it over there. That's my little linear belt over there in the corner. Clean. Do the same thing with these two straps. Just buff one of them sides off. scuffed off. Just so the brace helps stick to them, that. Get it nice and sharp. That's all that done. Let's put some pipes back on, Let's put some pipes back on. I think so. I think it's scary again. I'm at a scary point. Well, that's going to be well hard to tack onto the top there. They're going to be hard. Going to be a bit of hard tacking. Back in business. It's a case of just doing this all in right order. Probably run up across the top, but there's not much room to tack them on with. Be tight. Be really careful with welder, I think. Scary times ahead of us again. Yeah, should I get that to stay on there? It's a bit fucking big, them pipes. Right. Oh. That only just clips on at the top. That's another reason I'm scared. That's why I've got this wooden board down on the floor as well. Just in case one of these decides it wants to tip off, it should save it from being dented in, hopefully. Just making sure that they're in line with each other. They look good. They look good. Right, see if I can get a flipping tack on that before it falls off. Like I said, scary times. Zoom you out a bit. Zoom you out a bit. Get me. So no one complains I've not got gloves on. I was going to do that without gloves on then, but. So I'm a responsible adult on that. Find me a bit of stainless rod. So if these tacks don't go right, then I could absolutely muck all of this up. Just by putting a messy tack on. So that's why I'm a bit wary. Wary all the way through, really. Got to be careful with them, as not to mess them up. You see that top one's most likely to fall off, but it's also the hardest to get to. Right, we're rocking. Yeah, really hard to get to. Right, got one on though. See if we can get one on there. Right, I should stay there. It's actually pulled itself off the casing, which is, it's alright, it's worked out alright. Just got to be careful it don't flip. That nearly flared up on the nut, so just got to be careful about that. Still rather scary. Another one on. Right, might have a quick look. I'm going to clean up my tungsten just because I dipped it in up there. Rather, I know fighting underneath that. So they're going to need some great hard welds. Just basically, there's not much gap between that and the nut. There's enough gap that you can weld it, but it's hard to get it to be on the metal. I might need a smaller cup and all that stuff. See, that's just pulled out a little tiny bit. Not much better I can solve that. Oh, that might do it. Right, I'm going to check, clean me tungsten. Check me alignment again, me gaps. Maybe try and get another tack on an opposite side to where I've just tacked, which will help it not move. Yeah, it's tricky though. I won't be able to get to the back of that to tack it. I could possibly get round to the back of this to tack it. So I'll just have to be really careful when I take the nuts off that they don't move and I don't snap any tacks because they're only tiny tacks. Whew. That will go in there. That will go in. See, gas lens cups in it. I maybe have to get rid of that gas lens cup and see if I can get a smaller one on there. And definitely maybe not a number 8 for tacking. Maybe I don't even know if a number 8 that'll do for flipping welding it. Let's have a look in my drawer. 5 there, that'd be ideal. But how do I get to a... I'll screw straight in. I don't think I've used I've used these mini gas lenses before, but I don't think I've used these mini, whatever they are, mini normal ones. And that's too small, too big. Be like one of them, I think. Well, that was stuck in there. All that bloody effort to get that out of there, and it's not even right size. And if this is the one I need here. That's one thing, that's flipping massive. Right guys, we're all tacked on. We're tacked on a little bit. This is where I was a minute ago before I started changing. What I've done there, I put a smaller tip on my TIG welder. That should hopefully help me get into, this is what I was trying to explain. Oh, I can't see that. See that gap there? It's tiny, you can only just get the welder in there, and I need to get it a bit more vertical. I had a big gas lens on and I couldn't get anywhere near it, and it's just tried flaring up on the edge of that brass ring there. It's not caught it, but it's burnt it a little tiny bit, which you won't notice. It just wants a little bit of buffing off, probably a little clean up, and it'll be all right. But yeah, I need to weld all the way around them. It's the same with that gap there, so I've just swapped that over onto that smaller tip, onto the smaller shield, and hopefully I'll be able to get that in a bit easier. Just while I'm tacking it, I might put the gas shield back on when I'm welding it, but yeah, because I've just tacked that on, I've tacked it on, the gap's got bigger here, which you need a torch to see, won't we? And I don't know where I put my torch as part of my little toolkit. I don't know where it's gone, but yeah, the gap's got bigger there. So as I've tacked it on at the top, it's pulled itself out like that because I tacked it on at the top, which has made that gap. The gap's perfect. You can see daylight, I can't get all the way down that now. So I just want to make sure that everything else is all in line. So like you see there, them two pipes are stepped out, so I just need to pull that bottom pipe out, push that front pipe in, the top pipe, before I carry on tacking. So now they'll never fall off these because they're tacked on twice at the top. So that's helping me. I don't have to be scared about them dropping off and dinting. So now just move them about, tweak them about a bit now while they're tacked on. Just move them a little tiny bit, get the gaps right, get them back all lined up, and then tack another tack on, which then should help hold them in place. Double check them again, and then maybe try and get another I can't get a tack round the back of that one, but I'll be able to get a tack on the back of that one, That one will be fixed then, completely fixed, good enough to weld. That one, because I won't be able to put a tack on the back because there's not enough room, I'll just have to be gentle when I'm taking it out. Possibly put a tack on when it's out and then try it back on again before I weld round it. So same thing, I'll stop video now for a minute just while I do all them checks, and then we'll have a look at putting, once I've got that sorted. I might even weld round them and then we'll sort the bracket out. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Right guys, I'm all tacked on. I am all tacked on. Should have heard that creaking. Oh. Basically, yeah, put a tack on, and as the tack's cooling, the tack shrinks and it pulls it to that one side. And because they were that tight to engine and everything, you can hear them going ting, 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 ting as they were creeping in. It's still a bit tight on the back, but I've got gaps everywhere else. And I've got a multiple attacks on, so I even managed to get a tack on the back on both pipes, or just over the other side. So they're well held in place, and I've just had a mess about. I've been making this little bracket up, so that's going to hold the two pipes together at the back, and it's going to fix onto the frame with that triangle bracket. And I've even stamped them with Raysons, if you can see that. You can't. It's just, God knows. Maybe you can see them if I put them in front of my face. Yeah, you can just see that, can't you? It's got Raysons stamped on it. I'll have to do a little video. Both of them have got Raysons stamped on it, so when they pull off, when someone pulls them off in 50 years time, they'll know where they came from. And that, basically, let's have a flick round and a bit of a look. So yeah, good gap all the way around there. As it were creeping, it's creeped off, so you can see my fingers all the way around. And the actual hammer marks, now if you look there, they match with the shape of the casings. But before they were touching in places, I said I might put a dint in here. It's hard for that to get for. Might put a dint in there, I might put a dint in there, but I don't need to, because that gap there now it's levelled itself out. It's got a nice, see it there, can't you? It's got a nice gap there, and I were going to put a dint here. But yeah, that gap runs perfectly, like it's just a nice gap. And then it's got a little tiny gap up here where it just hooks over the casing. I've not put a dint in that, that's just worked out nicely. Like I say, that gap there could have been a little bit better, but I would have had to just start that bend a little bit further up. That's hindsight, that for you, but we're talking, it's fractions again. Couple of mil. There's no gap here, but what I'm going to do, because it's all tweaked on, it's all tacked on, I'll just pull that out like that, just to get a gap, and then that's going to drop in there. Tack onto the frame, tack onto the pipes, tack it, go around the back and tack it onto the bottom pipe, and it'll have the nut. Look at that, the nut will be in between the two pipes. So when you fasten it on from the back, there you can see Raysons logo now, can't you? And you won't be able to see none of that bracketry. That's all you'll see. You'll just see you won't see hardly any of that, will you? You just see a little bit of braze sticking out the top, and that'll look tidy. But before I do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to whip these pipes off, get them welded right round, all round the top, so they're fixed on. They might creep a bit again when I'm doing that, so then I'll have to come down here, set all this back up again, and then I'm going to drop a piece of tin down the back of that, I think. I'll just drop a little sliver of tin. Even it might be a little piece of welding wire or anything, just to hold it off a mil or two. And then tack this on from the back, then pull it all back off again, weld that on. I'll have to clamp that, I'll have to try and find a way of clamping that up like that with a G-clamp or something so it holds it in place. And then all I have to do then is just decide whether I put another bracket between here. I mean, customers have talked about it a few times, and I still don't know yet, but it being a sleek place, if I got that in the gap there's a massive gap there, but when I come round here, you won't see it again, it'll be hidden by this pipe, because that slants ever so slightly away. So like there's all a gap there, isn't there, but enough that you could get an Allen key in or a spanner in, definitely. So it's massive, that gap, but you can't, when you're out here, you won't be able to see two brackets there. That's how I like my brackets to be. I like them to be hidden away. So say if I set the camera, I'll set camera up on tripod just while we weld them up. Thought about purging them, just to stop this from coming through to the back side when I weld round there. When I weld across there, I don't want it to come through the back side, but that's 1 5/8 tube. And the end of me back, this bar I've got out here, that's 1 3/4 all the way along it, or it fits, it's 1 5/8 all the way along it, so 1 3/4 tube fits on it, which is the size of the pipe. Then that end there, I've turned that down to 1.5 inches, so that would actually fit that 1 5/8 collar over it. And if it's sat on that, then there won't be nowhere behind it for it to do it. It frosts on the back, it comes through and it makes stalactites kind of thing. Well, if I have that touching the back of it when I'm welding it, then it won't do that because there won't be no air there. It's just one little cheat. Instead of me trying to just purge that top end, like say I'm doing a little stainless to mild steel weld along there so that the customer doesn't have to chrome that top section where his nut's at. You can just mask it off there where the pipe ends. You just want to chrome to finish there, and then that bit's stainless and that bit's brass, so that won't rust. So yeah, I'll whip them off and we'll do a little bit of welding, then we'll set them all back up again. That'll be the tops finished. Happy days. Then get that bracket on. Braze right, yeah. Tack it on, tack it on, tack it on. Just tack it on about 6 times. Tack it to pipes, tack it to frame, all that kind of stuff. Then pull it all apart, braze the lug onto the frame, braze the brackets onto the pipes, trim the pipes at them white marks. Then I'll go make some baffles, and I'll screw baffles in front back as well so you can't see them. Then yeah, pretty much done. Right, I'm going to crack on, I'll set camera up. Right guys, I'm going to first of all put this bar in here. Like I say, I'm going to use that to weld it with, if it works out. If not, I've got a few of these like little plug mandrel bits that have, I'll just stick one of them inside it maybe. But yeah, first plan is to try and get them on there, so get me, what's it spanner out, me Vincent spanner. Set this top pipe off first, I think. Just see. Oh yeah, it's tight up now. That's as tight, that was as tight as you like. I did say that to the customer, I said you might struggle getting that out afterwards. So that's my plan with that so far. I don't want it to push or pull on collar though. So I'm going to need a block up the back. Just to take a bit of weight off it. Not that much of a block. And then other question is, can I weld it? That's the side I want to really get a weld on. Which might be a case of flipping bar round and doing it like that. Might do that first. Which you might not be able to see. I'll have to change that camera angle for you. Other trick is like trying to keep that nut away from weld. It's going to be another problem. It's going to be really fine trying to get that on there. And I also don't know which way to weld it. I don't know whether to weld it this way or to weld it that. Might weld it that way. Right. Oh, gloves, helmet, wire, nozzle. I said to the customer, I said start on back because you can, if I start on back, I can practice a little bit, see what it's going to be like. I'll pause you a second. Well, I'm just going to go and get another rod out, and then I'm going to get I'm going to grind that flipping tungsten up again. Oh, and battery needs putting on charge. Motherfucker. Right, guys, let's do it. I've just sharpened my tungsten. I've just swapped the rods. I think that first one was 316. These are 308. These are the ones which will be better for mixing the two metals together, I think. I ain't one of them metallurgists or a pro welder, but I'm not that bad at welding. I'm just not that good at all the ins and the outs. So let's see. Can you hear that creeping? It worked alright, that. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to check to see what it looked like on the inside, make sure it's not. Make sure that metal plug there's helping it. Well, it's not, it could be better. Right, so you've just seen me do that bit. My battery's running low. Let's see, yeah, you just seen me do that bit. My battery's running low, if you're still on, if you're still out there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a think now. I'll put battery back on charge. I'm going to have a think at maybe trying to purge it. Which means like standing it up so the nuts drop down. Put the gas in through the bottom so that it sits, it's heavier than air, so it'll drop down onto the weld. Just fill the cup up and not the rest of the pipe in a way. That could make it better, but then the angle for welding it'll be fucking like that upside down, so that might make it tricky. I were hoping that we're going to do it, to be honest with you. Other option is just to lay it down flat on the bench and carry on doing what I'm doing. But yeah, just put a bit of gas inside the end of it, which might help. I suppose I could do that. I could have a go at doing that now. Still flipping tricky, man. Still tricky. Be better if I were just brazing that on. If it weren't stainless to mild. But these are the things. Yeah, normally I would braze that on normally, but because of chrome in technicalities, and because we still want them brass nuts, and we wanted bigger bore pipes and. Yeah, a few issues. All them dints as well, even if that were the right size pipe. Even if you could slide that nut down that pipe, you couldn't slide it down because of alt nuts now, so I mean alt dints. So yeah, I'll just have to have a good think about it, come back. But yeah, the weld weren't too bad. If you like to say, if you're still there, let's unclick it. So that were it, that's my first weld. Hold on, still didn't want to focus in on that, did it? Yeah, that there is my first weld, that little tiny bit. I need to do about another 8 of them to get all the way around. But yeah, like I say, it just come through on the back, and it's not mega bad, but I'd rather it be neat, so just spend 10 minutes just having a quick think about how I can get round that. If I can't, I'll just have to crack on it. I'll just have to have a bit of frosting on the inside. I'm not going to grind the weld off, so I need it to be neat and I need it to be strong. That's why I'm not grinding it off, because it needs to be strong. And also, you won't be able to get a grinder in there. So yeah, that's how it's looking. I'll crack on. I'll put battery on charge. And by the end of it, we might have 2 pipes welded up all nice and back on the bike, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Right, guys, another task completed. I've welded these up. It was one of them. If you're a welder, it was a hold your breath weld. You know what I mean by one of them, where you just like trying to get around it. My lord, that were hard. It was well hard. Just too close to that brass nut. Yeah, it was wild. That absolutely wild. You want to see me bodgy purge as well? If you're a welder, you'll like this. I always bodge purge me. I kind of understands the basics of it, and I'm not welding titanium, so it don't need to be, and it's not going on an aircraft neither, is it? So it don't need to be absolutely perfect. But yeah, basically I get one of these little LB bottles, which is pretty much empty now. Bit of tin foil in there. That has got a little nut on the end of it to stop the tin foil falling off it. Which, yeah, not focusing in again, have you? And I've not got 2 hands to focus that in. So yeah, just plug that in there. That's not even like Jubileed on there neither, it's just on. You look, I just plugged that on the end of there. And I've not even plugged the other end up of the pipe. That's got no tin foil in it. I was just working on the basics of, I just needed some argon here. So that's what I've done, I've just plunked it into there. Tin foil's there, and my weld's there. Just hoping that were enough. Basically, I've had the pipe pointing downwards all the time, just so that nut will stay down. So I'm hoping, because it's heavier than air, is argon, that it's just gone into there, maybe filled up to there, sat back down here, and the rest of that can be full of air if I want. I'm not bothered about the rest of it. So I'm just hoping that bit there filled up with argon, and it's done a little bit of back purging. I'm not even bothered if it's 100%. Like, I've welded really thin stainless before, and you need to get it 100% purged, because otherwise it's too mucky on the back, it comes through to the front. Whereas that were a nice clean weld when I were doing it, so that's good. That's out of the way. What I'm going to do now, put battery back on charge. It says it's fully charged, but it's not. It was still on orange when I unplugged it. I'm just going to do a little reel, put these back on bike, and then I'll set camera back up again. I'll set camera back up and we can do, I'll tack bracket on. That's where I'm at now. I'll unveil it, see what they line up like. I'll get these back on bike, see what they line up like, then we'll have a look at bracket.